Welcome to our channel Live a new life every day. AITA for not wanting to use my college fund to pay for my brother's treatment. My parents divorced when I was about 7 because my dad had admitted to having an affair. My mom and I moved out of our house and into an apartment while my dad immediately moved his mistress into our house because she was pregnant with my twin brothers. My mom was devastated, but she quickly picked herself up for us. She went back to school and as a result, she continued climbing up in her career. My mom adjusted better to going from a double-income household to a single income and was able to contribute a substantial amount of money to my college fund. My dad, on the other hand, had a harder time as he now has to support a family of 4, sometimes 5 on a single income as his wife is a som. My dad did not have much disposable income and so did not contribute as much to the fund. I'm going to finish school soon and I have a good shot at getting into my first choices of college. Unfortunately, my brother, 10M, was diagnosed with a kidney disease which has progressed to where he needs to be on dialysis. My dad is drowning in medical debt, so my mom agreed he no longer needed to pay child support. The specialist had suggested a different treatment for my brother as most other treatments didn't help or stopped working and they are running out of options short of a transplant, not doable at this time. This treatment is not covered by insurance and costs a lot. My dad can't take out a loan due to debt. Dad and his wife sat me down when I was over and asked if I would be willing to let them borrow my college fund to pay off my brother's treatment. They offered to pay the money back, but I knew they wouldn't be able to. I really don't want to give them the money because I know if I don't get any scholarships I wouldn't be able to go to the college I want to without going into debt myself. My future would be at risk and I know my dad wouldn't help if I needed it. In addition, the money technically belongs to my mom, I can't just give it away and I know she would refuse to give them the money. My dad and his wife are furious at both my mom and I and is trying to guilt me into it. I do feel terrible for my little brother. AITA. My dad does have a second job that he works on the weekend, and his wife homeschools the boys and is a full-time caregiver for my brother. My dad's family disowned him when the affair came to light. He did get some help from his brother and sister, but they can only give so much. I do think I was his last option. His wife did not have a lot of family. Lastly, of course I would feel bad if something happened to my brother, he's just a little kid, but I would want to help him with my own money and I can only do that if I start my career debt-free. I also don't want to risk my own future. Update. So after I called my mom, she left work early and picked me up from Dad's house. She took me for coffee and I explained what happened. After talking a bit, she said I could either keep the fund as is and not give Dad the money, or we can take the money that Dad had contributed and give that back to him. I told her I wanted to give Dad back the money he put in. After we finish our coffee, Mom withdrew the exact amount Dad put in over the years. Mom also matched the amount and added it to give to Dad. I waited in the car while she gave Dad the money and he was upset because the money wasn't enough. Mom told him that is all he's going to get from her and threatened to take him to court if he and his wife keeps harassing me. This is probably the last update as I am going low contact with Dad for now. Thank you everyone of the genuine support and the advice. Here are some comments with OP's replies. It was their choice to have 5 kids and only try support themselves on your dad's income. That's not doable today unless the man is making a lot of money. Why can't she get a job? That was their choice, you don't have to pick up after them. Op replied. They just have the twins, and sometimes me. The family of 5 was referring to the twins plus their parents and sometimes me as I go over sometimes. Sorry for the confusion. Next comment. My dad and his wife are furious at both my mom and I and is trying to guilt me into it. I do feel terrible for my little brother. That's interesting. OP, you can be sure they asked her before they sat you down. She said no, which is why they are furious at her. Now that is ridiculous for so many reasons, not the least of which is that she's not asking for the enforcement of the child support payments the court ordered your dad to pay. Whatever is in your college fund will be a drop in the bucket compared to what they will ultimately owe for this. Eventually, they'll have to file for bankruptcy, and it won't be any better for them with your money than without, whereas it will matter very much for you. I also feel terribly for your little brother. I suspect your very gracious mother does, too, which is why she's letting the child support go. I hope it goes without saying that you are NTA. Your father, while I have a certain amount of empathy for in his fear of losing a child, is being TA here and trying to circumvent your mother and dragging a minor child into adult decision-making. The fact that all of this started on a foundation of infidelity and his abandonment of his first family makes it even worse. I'm glad to see you got your mom involved with this. If I were your mom, I'd tell him that if they didn't back off and drop this horrible idea, I'd take him to court to enforce the child support payments. Op replied. My dad would never dare ask my mom for money. They are mad because they hold resentment that my mom made a better life for us while they struggle. Comment from user. Even if you gave that money, you don't know how much treatment this kid would need and the cost. It's extremely inappropriate to ask you to give up your future for their kid, and they are desperate to give him treatment, but then there would be more down the line, and then what they ask for you to give more. No. You aren't a parent, and that's not your job or decision. Your focus is college, and keep your plan in check to make sure you have the best chance in life. Someone's gotta be in your corner, and I'll easily say it cause clearly your dad doesn't give two shits about you. Your mom worked hard to give you a chance at a good start after school. Don't waste it. Your mom wouldn't want that either, I'm sure. She didn't work hard for you to give money to them. Op replied. Dad doesn't know exactly how much is in the fund, but he knows it's a lot and believes it will be enough to cover the full treatment. I think in addition to the treatment there will needs to be follow-ups for a while. Comment. NTA. Tell them frankly that it's not your money and your mom has the right to use that money as she sees fit. This is not your problem at all. Op replied. He knows that most of the money in the fund is from my mom and that she has full control of it. He wanted me to agree to loan them the money so I can help them ask my mom for the money. Comment. I mean, the mistress could get a job. She's lounging around at home, while they're struggling financially. Op replied. The twins are homeschooled due to brother's compromised immune system. So dad-wife actually cannot get a full-time job as she is also a full-time caretaker for my brother. Comment. It sounds like dad may not have access to it all, since her mother started saving after the divorce. Op replied. They actually started saving when I was born. Dad stopped contributing completely when the twins were 5. Like, share your comments and subscribe.